somewhere in Donbas, 2026. Imagine a Russian anti-tank gunner peering through the optics of his weapon. Bursting through the smoke and the churning mud is a monstrous 15-ton armored beast. Relying on decades of ingrained Soviet doctrine, the gunner doesn't hesitate. He does what he has been trained to do with every piece of mechanized armor he has ever faced. He aims dead center at the left side of the cabin. One perfect lethal shot to eliminate the driver, paralyze the vehicle, and then drones will turn it into a steel coffin. He pulls the trigger. The impact is deafening. The heavy armor shudders violently under the explosive force. But the beast doesn't stop. It doesn't swerve. It doesn't even slow down. It simply roars right out of the kill zone, leaving the gunner in a state of absolute shock. Why? Because Russian military doctrine failed to account for one crucial, life-saving geographical detail. This is the Australian Bushmaster. And in Australia, the steering wheel is on the right. The driver wasn't even sitting where the rocket hit.
At first, the Russians thought the driver sat on the left, but this is an Australian vehicle. When they finally figured out the driver was on the right side, they started shooting to the right.
When Australian engineers first rolled out this massive machine, even their own soldiers shook their heads, laughing at its awkward, top-heavy silhouette. They mockingly dubbed it the pregnant hyena. Skeptics argued it was too big, too clumsy, and too vulnerable for a real high-intensity war. Yet today, from the suffocating, freezing mud of the Donbas to the fiercely contested fields of the Kursk region, Ukrainian paratroopers don't call it a hyena. They call it the ultimate armored taxi. It is their guardian angel forged in steel. This is the story of how a vehicle born for the burning deserts of the outback became a waking nightmare for the enemy, surviving everything from buried anti-tank mines to the terrifying new generation Russian fiber-optic drones. But before we move forward, we want to announce our upcoming exclusive video about M777 from the 1st Assault Regiment.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Weapons of Victory channel and hope to see you soon.
To understand how this machine defies death, we have to rewind to the 1990s. The Australian Military Command came to a sobering realization. They didn't just need a transport truck. They needed a mobile fortress, a machine that could carry troops across vast hostile terrains while completely shielding them from the deadly threat of hidden explosives. The project, codenamed Bushranger, was brought to life by a brilliant collaboration between the Irish firm Timoney and Australia's Perry Engineering, a company we know today as the defense giant Thales Australia. The vehicle they birthed was an absolute Goliath. It stretches over 7 meters in length, stands a towering 2.65 meters high, and crushes the scales at nearly 15 tons. To a layman, that massive towering profile looks like a fatal engineering flaw, a gigantic bullseye on the battlefield. But the brutal physics of modern warfare proved the exact opposite. The science of survival dictates a simple rule. The higher the human body sits from the epicenter of an explosive blast, the greater the chances of walking away with a beating heart. The statistics from the Ukrainian front lines are nothing short of miraculous. Out of the 120 Bushmasters delivered to the Ukrainian armed forces, plunged into the most intense combat on Earth, only 5 have been definitively destroyed. That is not just reliability. That is structural immortality. So, how exactly does the Bushmaster cheat death time and time again? Its ultimate secret weapon lies beneath the soldier's boots. The vehicle is built around a central armored capsule, mated to a deep, violently angled V-shaped hull. When an anti-tank mine detonates beneath the tires, the explosive shockwave doesn't smash flat against the bottom of the truck. Instead, the V-hull acts like the sharp bow of a battleship crashing through a tidal wave. It physically slices the blast energy in half, deflecting the catastrophic force outward and away from the fragile human bodies sitting inside. Listen to the testimony of a Ukrainian soldier. His Bushmaster was tearing down a Frontline road when it hit not 1, but 2 anti-tank mines simultaneously. The sheer violence of the blast ripped the heavy wheels right off the axles and completely obliterated the rear trunk section. The crew was thrown like rag dolls, suffering concussions from the acoustic shock. But as the dust settled, a miracle revealed itself. The V-hull had held its ground. The floor didn't rupture. Every single man climbed out of that wreckage alive. Another frontline fighter, Volodymyr, an 82mm mortar shell shrieked from the sky and detonated right beside the Bushmaster's massive tire. The explosion was deafening, yet inside the cabin, not a single soldier suffered a scratch. But the paranoid brilliance of the Australian engineers goes even deeper than the hull. Hidden right beneath the floorboards is a 200-liter water tank. In a civilian vehicle, that's just a reservoir. In the Bushmaster, it's a fluid armor layer. When a mine goes off, that dense body of water absorbs a massive chunk of the kinetic shockwave. And what about the armor itself? The entire interior of the troop cabin is meticulously lined with high-grade Kevlar. If a heavy projectile hits the outside, the Kevlar catches the deadly metal spalling, the shrapnel that breaks off from the inside of the armor, preventing it from ricocheting around the cabin. A Ukrainian driver with the call sign TUR perfectly encapsulates the surreal sense of security inside this beast. When the shrapnel is beating against the side of the vehicle, you just hear this muffled ding ding ding, and absolutely nothing else. You are untouched. The massive reinforced bulletproof glass casually shrugs off direct bursts from 12.7mm heavy machine guns, and if enemy fire manages to obliterate the external 300-liter fuel tank in a massive fireball, the engineers planned for that too. Tucked safely inside the armored capsule is a hidden 19-liter emergency reserve tank. It holds just enough fuel to let the crippled machine sprint out of the kill zone and carry its men to safety. There are even verified combat reports where this incredibly stubborn armored capsule took 2 direct point-blank hits from a rocket-propelled grenade, and the crew still survived to fight another day. But make no mistake, the Bushmaster is not just a passive, rolling bunker. It is a predator. Mounted high on its roof is a remote weapon station, a mechanized turret armed with either a 7.62 machine gun or a devastating Mark 19 automatic grenade launcher. The magic of this system is that the gunner never has to risk his life by popping his torso out of a hatch. He sits deep in the absolute, armored safety of the capsule. Gripping a joystick and staring intensely at a high-definition monitor, he hunts his targets with the cold, clinical precision of a video game. A gunner going by the call sign Solodkai explains the true terror this module inflicts on the enemy. The turret rotates a seamless 360 degrees, and its greatest asset is a phenomenal military-grade thermal imager. The gunner can calibrate the contrast so that the freezing Ukrainian tree lines appear pitch black, while the heat signatures of Russian infantry glow blindingly white. It turns the gunner into an apex predator in the dead of night, allowing him to spot, track, and annihilate threats from distances the enemy cannot even fathom. According to pristine Western military standards, the Bushmaster was designed for a relatively comfortable ride. 2 crew members up front and a squad of 8 to 9 infantrymen in the back. But the brutal, desperate reality of the Ukrainian war doesn't care about factory manuals or comfort. When heavy Russian artillery is raining down, tearing the earth apart, and men need to be evacuated instantly, 15 to 18 heavily armed, adrenaline-fueled Ukrainian soldiers will pack themselves into that cabin in a frantic 15 to 20 seconds. To drag 15 tons of steel and 18 armored men through the notoriously thick, glue-like mud of the Donbas, the Bushmaster relies on a roaring 300-horsepower Caterpillar engine, seamlessly paired with a heavy-duty Allison automatic transmission. Because of its remarkably soft, fully independent suspension system, wounded soldiers don't suffer the agonizing, bone-jarring bouncing that is so typical of Soviet-era armored personnel carriers during medical evacuations. And for the suffocating, sweltering heat of the Ukrainian summer, the troop compartment alone is fitted with an incredibly powerful air conditioning system, blasting through 8 heavy-duty vents, keeping the men focused and alert. If the beast finally meets its match and gets bogged down in a crater, it possesses the means to save itself. Anchored dead center in the vehicle is a massive high-powered winch. The steel cable can be fed out to the front or routed straight out the back, allowing the Bushmaster to literally rip its own massive weight out of a swamp or drag another piece of bogged-down armor back from the brink of capture. Yet every fortress has a vulnerability, and the battlefield is an ever-evolving ecosystem of death. Today, the undisputed terror of the sky is the FPV kamikaze drone, and the Bushmaster's massive, towering size makes it a highly visible target from above. In August 2024, during the daring operations in the Kursk region, Russian forces hunted this very vehicle using their absolute newest weapon. It doesn't rely on hackable radio waves. Instead, it is piloted via a 50-kilometer unwinding spool of fiber-optic cable. This makes it completely, utterly immune to every traditional electronic warfare jammer on the battlefield. But the blood and sweat of the Ukrainian combat experience are not being spilled in vain. This war is fundamentally rewriting global defense manufacturing in real time. Seeing this terrifying new threat raining from the skies, Thales Australia immediately launched Project Land 156. They are right now testing the Bushmaster with a cutting-edge, artificial intelligence-driven anti-drone system built by the American tech company Dedrone. This isn't just a standard jammer. This is smart jamming. The AI system creates an invisible dome, detecting, identifying, and intercepting enemy drones, even while the Bushmaster is tearing down a dirt road at top speed. It intelligently filters out false alarms, ensuring the crew can focus entirely on the mission. The evolution doesn't stop there. Anticipating the future of stealth warfare, engineers are already putting a fully electric version of the Bushmaster to the ultimate test. Stripped of its heavy, noisy combustion engine, this new variant is 2 tons lighter, moves in absolute, ghostly silence, and boasts a combat range of up to 100 kilometers. Throughout the grinding horror of this war, the Bushmaster has transcended its physical components of metal, glass, and gears. From the lightning-fast, historic counter-offensive in the Kharkiv region to the grueling, unpredictable maneuvers in Kursk, it continues to execute its one sacred mission. It refuses to let its soldiers die. It brings them home. And judging by how fiercely, how rapidly this Australian machine is evolving under the intense, unforgiving pressure of the Ukrainian battlefield, its legendary status is only just beginning to be written. What do you think of this masterpiece of Australian armor? Could this be the best armored transport of the modern era? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and tell us exactly what piece of frontline military tech we should break down and analyze in our next video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and support our work so we can keep bringing you the reality of the frontline. Stay safe and support Ukraine.